Breaking news. Even though Triple H has been the creative force behind WWE for the last many years, Vince Russo still doesn't seem pleased. The veteran recently shared his thoughts on how the game missed a key point. Decades ago, when Vince McMahon was instrumental in launching the Attitude Era, Vince Russo was a member of WWE's creative staff. Russo felt confident in his abilities to create an engaging TV product because of his extensive background in marketing. Russo, on the other hand, had different expectations of Triple H. According to the previous chief writer, Mr. McMahon was so engrossed in wrestling that he never watched any other TV programs. On the most recent episode of Sportskeeda Wrestling's Legion of Raw, Vince Russo said that he shared Paul Levesque's belief that WWE's material is often uninspired because Levesque isn't up to date with current television. According to Vince Russo, WWE didn't seem to have anybody keeping tabs on things behind the scenes. While WWE President Nick Khan may not be involved with booking, Russo pointed out that Khan was the money guy and was doing well in his capacity. In 2025, WWE will embark on a new and exciting era, and Triple H wants to make a big splash at Survivor Series, War Games, the following event in the series. The careers of Vince McMahon and Triple H, Paul Levesque, will go down in wrestling lore forever. Triple H, a former wrestler turned businessman, took on the enormous task of bringing WWE into the modern day after Vince had already developed the company into an international entertainment behemoth. A wrestling veteran recently said that Triple H's failure to learn from Vince McMahon's errors is harming WWE's television product. Despite Triple H's lauded creative abilities, despite its audacity, this claim begs the issue of whether Triple H's leadership is causing WWE to repeat the mistakes of its legendary past or not. Examining Vince McMahon's blunders, particularly in his latter years, is essential for getting a feel for the veteran's point of view. Vince was infamous for his obstinacy, dependence on antiquated booking principles, and preference for spectacle over content, despite his obvious vision. Some judgments, such giving too much credit to specific talents, not giving enough credit to stories with a longer time horizon, and favoring guest stars over regulars on the roster, were heavily criticized by fans and insiders for a long time. The authoritarian style of Vince's creative management, in which he often disregarded audience opinions in favor of his own ideas, stands out. He turned off some fans by focusing too much on veteran wrestlers like Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, and not enough on up-and-coming talent in the main event scene. Even while Vince's choices had their financial rewards, fans often wished for more consistent and captivating stories that could adapt to their changing preferences. In 2022, when Triple H took over as creative director, supporters were filled with hope. Triple H skillfully crafted captivating stories, brought underrated talents to the forefront, and skillfully combined in-ring expertise with character development as he orchestrated NXT's renowned black and gold period. In contrast to Vince's methodical style, his methods seemed to be a welcome change. It seemed at first that this confidence was well-founded. Famous wrestlers like Johnny Gargano and Bray Wyatt made a triumphant comeback to WWE under Triple H's guidance. The company also redesigned its mid-card championships and put an emphasis on faction warfare again with organizations like the Bloodline and the Judgment Day. Both the product's rating and its perceived vitality were boosted. The veteran, however, claims that Triple H's vision has started to show signs of fractures due to his inability to really break away from Vince's contentious strategy. Three main points make up the veteran's criticism: the show's heavy use of nostalgia, its erratic storyline, and its failure to fully use its underappreciated talent. Dependence on memories. Triple H said he will fix WWE's problem of using part-time stars and legends too much, but he has sometimes made the same mistake. For instance, there have been renewed discussions on whether WWE is putting short-term ratings above the development of long-term talent, because to the constant emphasis on stars like as John Cena and The Rock at premium live events. Legendary guests certainly get people's attention, but they run the danger of stealing the spotlight from up-and-coming artists who are using the spotlight to establish themselves. Lack of preparation, a feature of Vince's latter years, is on full display with the incomplete changeover from nostalgic performances to new headliners. Unreliable narrative. Even while Triple H has made some improvements to his narrative, The veteran thinks it is starting to lose steam. Specifically targeted here is WWE's women's division and mid-card shows, which don't go nearly as in-depth with their stories as major event shows like The Bloodline. For example, while Gunther's time as Intercontinental Champion was memorable, the feuds surrounding the mid-card belts were disorganized. Similarly, there is inequitable booking in the women's division, which was about to catch up to the men's. Many stories are either cut short or stretched too thin, which leaves viewers feeling detached. Disenfranchising skilled players. Triple H, like Vince, has sometimes let his team down when it came to using its full potential. Even though All Night has a lot of fans, the veteran says that they haven't had much of a push for their skills. In a similar vein, talented actors like Chad Gable, Shayna Baszler, and Ricochet have been cast in supporting parts, despite their obvious talent. Similar to Vince's bias toward favoring a small group of people, this incompetence impedes the advancement of worthy individuals. It's no secret that Triple H's role as head of creative for WWE has its own set of difficulties. Triple H's WWE is a publicly listed firm with more corporate monitoring, particularly after the Endeavor merger, in contrast to Vince's often luxurious operation with little external limitations. Network partners like Fox and USA Network have financial demands, and it's not easy to meet the expectations of a dedicated following while also meeting those demands. Compromises that water down original ideas are common results of this conflict. Importantly, the veteran's critique emphasizes WWE has failed to innovate because it has not completely embraced change. Even though Triple H is known for being progressive, he seems to be making the same errors that Vince did, refusing to adapt to the evolving wrestling world. In order to fix this, Triple H has to focus on the following: prioritize strategies for the future. While WWE is great at making moments go viral, it has a hard time keeping viewers engaged in stories that go on for a long time. Triple H is able to produce content that attracts and retains viewers by carefully plotting out the future of important feuds and personalities. Mid-card and women's divisions should be empowered. The success of WWE in the future will depend on how well it can develop storylines outside of the big event. We can improve the product as a whole by giving more prominence to mid-card titles and giving the women's division the same level of narrative attention as the Bloodline plotline. Bet on up-and-coming experts. It's possible that WWE is grooming the next superstar. It may be risky, but Triple H must promise to bring untapped talent to the forefront and give them their due, though not without its flaws. Triple H's time as WWE's head of creative has unquestionably improved the company. The veteran makes a valid point when he says that we risk losing all of our hard work if we don't study Vince McMahon's blunders.